Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play some more Fate Grand Order. We're on a Meihousou Most Foul still. More quests have opened. Let's continue proceeding through Section 8 at the end of memory. So let's do that. Oh, we have some guest servants, eh? Sure. Why not? What's the worst that can happen? And let's go with my Kill Rider team. And let's switch you off for another assassin. In this case, let's go, we haven't really used you in your full final ascension, so we'll give you a go, why not? Otherwise, we got you. Well, I guess we should actually bring up someone to use, huh? We'll do that. And then let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Should be good. Should be good. There's no way in hell we're gonna move to the last one, anyways. So let's go. I always say, I don't even know if I didn't say Meihousou. It just comes out. Meihousou. This place seems much bigger than it needs to be. That's partly because there is also an emergency shelter here. One never knows when one might need it. We're prepared for anything here. We have food and medicine alike in ample supply. I see. So where's this medicine we need? I think it's on these shelves. Whoops! I just realized we have a battle, don't we? Huh. Well. There goes the bottle. Now! Perfect timing. Going a bit more Sean Connery than usual. On my head. Salazar, what's wrong? I just remembered. That's it, Salazar. Now you go into assassin mode. Wait, something's not right. Are you alright, Salazar? That is not my name. How dare you? Oh, he's angry. That's truly a riveting performance, but I do think he's taking it a bit far. It's as though he's truly lost his mind. Ugh, method actors. Aw, you don't get a real sprite. I forget his mind. He's lost his freaking humanity, can't you tell? His servant's spirit origin has fallen apart like it's a house of cards. He's practically a goddamn vengeful spirit now. Oh my, that won't do it all. Then it is time this great detective brought this case to a close. No, this is still my scene. Leave him to me. All you need concern yourselves with is capturing my glorious combat prowess on film. Apparently I missed a Dio reference with him, where he says, it is I. Then he was going to say something, then Vargas? It would be real. I know it's the same voice actor, and I know it's Egyptian themed, but like, I'm going to be real. That's not a very obvious reference if you ask me. The phrase, it is I, is used by many great and powerful characters, but I guess what this great detective needs to. Cyber brain, you snooze, you lose. I'm gonna see how this ghost likes to punch the face getting roasted alive or dead or whatever. Oh, very sad. Alright, who did we pick for our team though? That's the question. Because it was two mysteries. Did we get Jalter? Or did we get Ozymandias? I mean, either way. That's a character I don't have. Oh, they announced in the Japanese version that they're going to be adding in a store for every missed costume. We got Ozzy. That's bad. Well, not bad, but... so, like, all the costumes that I missed, which I was legitimately sad about, they are going to be added in through means of a Rare Prism shop, which That's good, actually. I know there was, we were kind of talking about it on the Discord, and like, well, it's like that's not something many people get, right? But the fact that you can get them, period, I think is a good thing. Alright, that should be, yeah, a lot of stars. Alright. We can get a full combo with you, almost. Or we could get Big Meter. Let's get Big Meter. Let's get big meter. I mean, even if you're not a good, like, not the best type matchup, he's still doing a lot of damage. Three times in a row. Wow. Let's do some of this. Nice crits. Nice crits. Don't even need a super, huh? Oh, so close. Alright, well. Let's do your stuff. Let's see what you look like with your super. That's a long super name. Kuchiyoshi Ibuki Daimyo something. Yep, that is a long one with a lot of speaking. Alright. Bless up. I was kind of hoping this guy, who's apparently not Salazar, I would actually, you know, be told who he was and get a battle sprite, but I don't know, maybe not. Salazar, snap out of it already. Just blasted him. My apologies. I don't know what came over me. What the hell, Salazar? You turned into a goddamn monster with Gibbs. Ixnay on the monster may. So you're finally settled down. Good. I'm surprised that cannon sound affected you so dramatically. You must have been through something exceptionally traumatic. You could say that. It was a cannon blast that killed me. At least now I can finally introduce myself properly. My name is Bartholomew. Kuma? Bartholomew Roberts. Who? Oh, the famous oh, you're another pirate. Okay. I never would have guessed it since you're so different from the other pirates we know. I am delighted to hear a lady with such beautifully hidden eyes say so. Well, drat, we could have figured this out much sooner if we only had Blackbeard take a look. Oh, well. I recall Sir Blackbeard saying that he doesn't look at other guys' faces closely enough to tell them apart. That's on point. Ah, so the old bastard's there too, huh? I know even as they say it's how I know even as I say it how unlikely it is, but I hope he hasn't been causing you too much trouble. On behalf of pirates and dashing men everywhere, I apologize for his entire existence. It would be one thing if times were peaceful, but under the current circumstances, well, at any rate, there's nothing we can do about it now. Bartholomew, looks like you're... Please don't worry your beautiful head about me, milady. This dashing man was fated to disappear along with his singularity anyway. Even now he's trying to sell us on how dashing he is. Maybe that sort of bluster is what I've been lacking. My spirit origin has always been like an ember on the verge of flickering out. I just happened to exhaust what little I had left in that battle. There's no need for you to concern yourself, Master. So this is where we part ways. It was enjoyable while it lasted, Bartholomew. Master, I can't tell you how grateful I am for you giving me a new role to play when I had nothing to look forward to but disappearing. I'm so sorry my leaving you like this will only make things harder for you.
Forgive me for leaving in the middle of all of this.
Bartholomew.
By the way, about the lovely lady with the beautiful bangs.
You realize there's more to Mash than her bangs, right?
I'm sorry for being so crude. I wish I could stick around and see this film completed. If anything, I really regret not being able to do so. If I ever see you again, I hope you'll show it to me. Well, farewell, everyone. Farewell, beautiful lady with the hidden eyes.
That's your thing, huh? Okay, we all got our vices, it's fine. Bartholomew. What is your obsession with my eyes being hidden anyway? Yeah, honestly, I'm not sure either. I mean, it's cute, but not that amazing. Yeah, beats me. Maybe that's just his fetish? People are into different stuff, I guess. Wow. You just come out and say it, huh?
I see.
I wouldn't worry about it if I were you, Mash, but you should really brush up on this shit, Tanner. Especially before Mr. God's Gift to Women shows up for real. Now that you've formed a connection with him, he's bound to come back sooner or later. Oh, okay. Maybe he's one of those ones that are going to be added in an update. The big group of servants that are, you know, like Chengong there, right? Like servants that were minor, but then they get added all together, I'm pretty sure. It's one of the anniversary updates that's apparently going to be happening. I don't know. I don't know who's actually in that pack there, really, other than like one or two of them, like Chengong and one of the knights that we saw in the summer festival, whose name I don't remember. Anyway, now what do we do?
Good question. I'm not sure there's anything we could do now that he's disappeared.
This is indeed quite a pickle. I'm sure we managed to record Salazar losing his mind and attacking Vargas. If we edit it well enough... Unfortunately, I'm not sure that will be sufficient. There's no way to film the story we originally envisioned without a scene where Salazar reveals his true identity and motive. At best, it would just be a muddled mess for our audience.
What should we do about the last half of the scene where he turns into a vengeful spirit?
Some symbolism, I guess.
Very well, then. We will just have to come up with a different climax.
If only it were that easy. We already filmed a scene with Salazar and Vargas going to look for medicine in the storehouse. With two people going in and only one coming out, it would stand to reason that Vargas killed Salazar.
What was that?
Well, technically, I suppose Vargas did kill him. We could always just leave that scene out, of course, but that presents us with other problems.
Right, it'd be very strange for Salazar to suddenly turn up dead or just disappear from the film.
Just room it. Just recast another character and have that character potentially be the one from earlier. God, I love The Room. However, we do have a scene where Salazar and Vargas hit each other at the same time. If we made it so that Salazar inflicts a fatal wound on Vargas, and Vargas summons up the last of his strength to take Salazar down with him, resulting in both their deaths, I think that may give us the most options for continuing the story naturally. How does that sound?
Interesting, so my choices are to become the villain or to exit the movie for good. This is a pickle. Well, logically, both Vargas and Salazar would have to die here.
Unfortunately, there's no time for any reshoots. We'll simply have to use the footage we already have.
Right. Murasaki doesn't seem likely to wake up anytime soon, and our top priority is to finish the movie, so...
I never even considered that my role might end like this. But very well, as Mash said, finishing the movie comes first, so I will accept Vargas's death. Besides, Isidoro and Adriana haven't been getting enough screen time anyway. Examining the crime scene should be the perfect opportunity for them. We should be able to fake Salazar's corpse with a mannequin and leftover outfit from the dressing room. And as for Vargas, you can simply lay on the floor and pretend to be dead, Pharaoh.
To think my final scene would involve playing a dead body. Amusing, this is most amusing. It seems nothing ever quite goes as planned in the making of a movie.
What should they say when they examine the bodies? I'm not coming up with anything. Your interest in there should figure out something while we get ready to shoot. Or we can save the reason that Salazar turned on Vargas for the conclusion. At worst, we can always chalk it up to somehow being the true culprit's doing. Easy for you to say, your character's dead. As long as it doesn't turn out that Miguel was actually alive the whole time, I can get away with saying whatever I want. You probably should have kept your mouth shut on that one. You just shot yourself in the foot. Now things could work out so you end up getting blamed for all the crimes. At any rate, we need to get back to filming. Come on now, everyone. Let's all do our best to finish strong.
What was that? Whatever it was really loud.
Thank goodness you're all right, Elise.
Everyone come quick. We found Vargas and Salazar in the storehouse, dead.
Vargas is dead? No way. Well, we should go see for ourselves. You can grieve for your friend afterward.
The two hands. Listen to that Ace Attorney sound.
Vargas, this can't be happening. They're both dead. It looks like they killed each other.
Which one of them attacked first? Vargas would never ambush anyone.
Looks like you're right. Vargas bled out from a wound on his back. Salazar must have attacked him from behind. He probably meant to kill Vargas with one strike and hide the body somewhere. But he obviously failed, leaving Vargas with just enough strength to strike back. Nobody could have taken Vargas down in a fair fight, not even if it was 3 against 1.
He must have known he wasn't going to make it, so he made sure to take Salazar down with him. It looks like they knocked over a bottle of volatile chemicals during the fight. That was almost certainly the cause of the explosion we heard.
Salazar must have already known he couldn't talk his way out of it. He could have interrogated them and got to the bottom of this a lot faster if just one of them had survived. Oh. What's wrong, detective? You haven't said a word.
Mr. Pogioli is also known as Isidoro the Sleeper because he always gets very quiet whenever he's considering evidence.
It's true. Even as we speak, my mind is evaluating all the possibilities at a dizzying pace. Didn't you say you're known as Isidoro the Reaper before? Hypnos and Thanatos are said to be brothers. Thus, my Sleeper and Reaper personas are two sides of the same coin.
Frick off! That's kind of an amazing explanation.
Oh, whatever. Just stop bragging and tell us what you figured out already. I can't, not when the culprit is listening. Oh, you're saying one of us is the culprit. I will leave that to your imagination. For now, all I can say is this. There is no case so inscrutable that I, Isidoro Pogioli, cannot solve it. You may sit back and rest assured that I have matters well in hand.
All right, Mr. Bard.
They do say every good story needs surprises, but usually a story is more than a series of plot twists and shocks. Ah, if only Sir Bartholomew hadn't disappeared. Good grief, it looks like we might just have to come up with an ending for this story after all.
Then we'd better stock up on pens and paper when we have the chance. Quite honestly, I'd much prefer the cast arrive at a natural conclusion themselves.
Hey, Holmes, something that's been nagging at me for a while now. What might that be? Instead of going to Hokusai about the painting, wouldn't it have been easier to start by asking Moriarty? I beg your pardon. Like you said yourself, Murasaki's condition was an unforeseen accident. So since Moriarty didn't do anything wrong this time, you could have just as easily asked him, since he had to have been there too. I know you two are mortal enemies and everything, but in this specific instance, I don't think he has anything to hide. Were that the case, he should have brought up the portrait before we thought to investigate it. True, if he wanted filming to go smoothly, he should have mentioned the portrait being redone the first chance he got. I don't care for the way he holds onto information while snidely waiting to see what the rest of us do without it. Even if I called him out on it, he'd just claim it slipped his mind, and that would be that. I get how you feel, Holmes, but that still doesn't explain why you didn't ask him. Fair enough. I don't know if this will convince you, but here it is. I'm a detective, so I believe I have an obligation to solve any mystery I come across. Don't know where that came from, but okay. I doubt there's any mystery you couldn't solve, but never mind that. However, there's a phrase that takes place when learning about the mystery I'm about to solve. A phase where I examine all the facts closely, free of preconceptions, and try to notice anything that seems out of place. In meticulously questioning everything, the relevant facts come to light, and the mystery reveals itself. So you're saying your approach revolves around careful examination and questioning what you observe. Right.
But on the flip side, it also means that one cannot engage with a question without such examination and attendant suspicion. And when it comes to preventing a detective from seeing matters clearly, therefore suspecting them, there is no criminal more devious than James Moriarty. Wait, really? How does that work with him just being around makes anyone naturally more suspicious? There's such a thing as being too suspicious, you see. It makes it difficult to determine how much one should suspect other things, ultimately making it impossible to focus on the proper issues in a case. I'm certain the whole reason he was able to rule the underworld for so long was because he made sure to never be anywhere that would arouse suspicion. In 19th century London, he would dispense his criminal schemes to others while erasing all trace of his presence from the surroundings. He ruled his network like a spider waiting in the middle of its web, all while remaining completely out of sight. If nothing else, it was an impressive feat. It even took me some time to be certain my suspicions were correct. Not to mention a painful sacrifice. His presence really was that invisible, huh? It would be easy to interrogate him now, but in doing so, it would be showing my hand as to my own method of thinking and questioning. Given that there was no telling when he and I might be on opposing sides again, I'd prefer to give him as few opportunities as possible to learn how I think. So if I'm going to investigate a case he's involved in, my only choice is to discover the core mystery while remaining as hands-off as I can. So he doesn't want Moriarty to learn how he thinks, huh? Or maybe not just Moriarty. Never mind. Basically, you're saying it is your examination suspicion lets you see a mystery before you, and if you have neither, there is no mystery, So we have arguably the world's greatest detective and the Napoleon of crime. Talk about a complicated relationship. Oh, if it isn't Mr. Tristan, how can I help you? I was hoping you could tell me something, Sir Holmes. How exactly does a detective, detect? I'm afraid I've arrived at the realization that I have no idea how to be a great detective only after I went and declared that my character was one. Now I don't know what to do. I see. Well, you've asked a very fundamental question. I only accepted this role because I thought following Murasaki Shikibu's script would make me look good. But now I'm at a complete loss for words. All I can do is stand around like a scarecrow. No, it's even worse than that. At least scarecrows have some use, even if it's only keeping crows at bay. I am so sad right now. A scarecrow, huh? I'll have to remember that one. This is hardly funny. The way this film is going, my scarecrow impersonation may well be preserved for posterity forever. I don't even want to think about how Sir Bedivere would pity me if he saw me like that. I see. Very well, Mr. Tristan, I understand your concerns. But to be quite honest, my particular brand of deduction is rather beyond your abilities. That's not just honest, it's brutal. No, don't misunderstand. I'm still prepared to give you advice. All I mean is that my deductions are ill-suited to puzzles whose solutions are known. I'm not so keen at filling in the bits in the middle. It's a matter of aptitude. I see. Never mind him. That's just his poor attempt at humor. I assure you, I'm quite serious. Now then, Mr. Tristan, what sort of deductions would you like to make? I'd like them to make everyone go, of course, now it all makes sense, and admiration. And have them cement me as Sir Tristan, the smartest and most handsome knight of the Round Table. Nothing too spectacular. That sounds quite the tall order. For one thing, the Round Table is home to a great many handsome knights. We knights always strive to be the best in everything we do, having minds as sharp as the teeth of Caerbannog. Ooh, what is that? Caerbannog. What is that? The Killer Rabbit of Caerbannog is a fictional character from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Alright, fellows, I'm exposed. I've never actually watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I'm very sorry. I hope you will forgive me. I've never seen it. I think my friend sat me down to watch it one time, and it had like the long opening with like the fake commercials. And he was going, no, it gets better for so long that eventually we just stopped watching because he just kept going, no, don't worry, it's part of the show, it gets better. Yeah. It might have been Life of Brian that he tried to show me. It was one Monty Python movie, but I remember I never got through it. So, one for me to return to. Anyways, Killer Rabbit. Now, I know the phrase Killer Rabbit from it, but But unfortunately, as I said, I don't know the first thing about playing a detective, so I am at a loss. Try turning your assumptions on their ear, Mr. Tristan. Decide what your goal is first, then find a path towards it. What do you mean by that? It means a plot with a foregone conclusion. Once you know how it ends, all you have to do is come up with a story that fits it. Precisely. First, decide on a truth you would like to see. The more interesting, the better in this case. Next, find all the clues that support that truth, and then simply set aside any that do not. That should lead you to a truth sufficiently compelling for your audience to ignore any loose threads you may have. Of course, it would be a severe problem if the police or district attorney handle investigations this way, but since this is for a movie where there's nothing but entertainment at stake, it should be fine. I see. Thank you, Holmes. This has been a revelation. I now know exactly what I have to do. Come up with a shocking and compelling truth. The explanation will simply follow that. I'm not convinced. I get the feeling he could still inadvertently turn this thriller into a comedy. Well, if you don't mind me just rattling things off the top of my head, I could share some ideas with you. I appreciate the offer, but as a matter of fact, I just came up with a brilliant idea myself. Is that so? I have my doubts, but all right. It's a dick move to give unsolicited criticism on someone's story. I look forward to seeing what you've come up with. I like how Anderson is a jerk, but he's a jerk that has, his standards for being an author still. Not to worry, I promise I will live up to, nay, exceed your expectations. Now then, if you'll excuse me. However this turns out, there's only so much we can do until Miss Murasaki wakes up. From here, we may as well just sit back and enjoy the show. You're not wrong, but that's one hell of a way to put it. Well, however this turns out, it should be entertaining at the very least. It's a dick move to give unsolicited criticism on someone else's story. Look forward to seeing what you come up with. Not to worry, I promise I will live up to, nay, exceed your expectations. Now then, if you'll excuse me, I'd better tell Master right away. You guys all hear that? I'm not usually in the habit of eavesdropping, but I simply couldn't help but overhear in this case. It's not our fault he didn't notice we were even here. Anyway, this explains why he's been so quiet during the filming so far. I guess in one sense, he was feeling more pressure than any of us. Anyway, I guess now we can wait for Sir Tristan to present his idea for the conclusion to Master. In that case, maybe I'll have a little fun myself. I'm glad I happened to overhear that. I just might be able to tie everything together after all. I still need to live up to Queen Marie's expectations. So what would I do? No. What would Antonio do? Maybe, just maybe. Oh, do they all have their own plans? Master, I need to talk to you. What's up? I believe I've found a way to bring this movie to a satisfying conclusion. Just give me, let's say, 30 minutes to collect my thoughts. On second thought, make that an hour just to be safe. Is that true? You've been stealing my thunder thus far, so I plan to make sure I at least go out with a bang. Well, that sounds great. I can't wait to see it. Okay, I'll go let everyone else know. Alright, time to come up with something that will blow everyone away. Remember this day, my fellow Knights of the Round Table. Today is the day Sir Tristan, knightly detective, bursts onto the scene. All I have to do now is decide the culprit before this hour is up. I'm counting on you, future me. Oh, never give your credit to future you. I haven't seen Tristan that excited in a while. I guess that means we'll be done filming soon? Looks that way. After editing the footage we've got so far, I'd say we've got about an hour's worth of movie in the can. So we need to find a way to end the story in about 30 minutes, no matter how many possibilities we leave on the cutting room floor. At least Sir Tristan looks like he has a good idea up his sleeve. He's a poet at heart, right? So I think he'll come up with something that appeals to a wide audience. You're enjoying this, aren't you, Doc? Well, of course. I've been monitoring the whole thing on my end, too. I don't think I'm enjoying it quite as much as you, since you're the one actually filming everything. But I've still been having a blast watching the whole production from start to finish. It is a shame I haven't been able to see you in action, since all the footage is from your perspective. But I figure MASH can fill me in on that side of things once you all get back. Still, the way things are going now, it might not all be smooth sailing. What do you mean? Do you think the characters are still in danger?
Only if Sir Tristan's ideas turns out to be something violent. Nah, I have a different concern. I suspect the rest of the cast might be thinking along the same lines as him. From everything we've seen so far, they've all really gotten into their roles. So it's only natural that they want their character to be the star of the show and come out on top. I expect that's true for you too, Mash. Am I wrong? Are you secretly hoping that Tanner gets to enjoy the spotlight too?
Yes, I would like to record Senpai's valiant figure on film for posterity.
Right? So the real work of resolving the singularity is just beginning. Tanner, I'm guessing it won't be long now before you have each actor speaking up about their idea about how the film should end. I'm sure they'll all be interesting in some way. Jean might even try bullying you into going with her ending. She might actually. But no matter how good they are, you can't use them all. A movie can only have one ending after all. So as their master, you're the one who's gonna have to choose. There's no right or wrong answer for this movie, and I'm sure each actor's idea for the ending will have some core truth to it. So I'd like you to think about what sort of movie you want to film before you make your decision. I'll be the answer to this singularity, and I think this satisfying the late director's spirit will also help us get a better reward. Okay. So this is how the voting works, huh? We're going to get all the different endings told to us, and we have to just pick the one we like the most? Okay, I like that. It's different. It's not like a mystery like before. Alright, Arash, tell me your idea for the script. I really want Arash to be like, I want myself to shoot an arrow and explode. Or it's going to be a streetcar named Desire, because of course he's yelling Stella. Like, that's the easiest thing they could do, but we'll see. Hey, Master. Can I talk to you for a minute? I've got an idea I wanted to share with you. Yeah, where's this coming from? Well, I was just kind of minding my business when an idea struck me. I know that we can't use the Pharaoh's original idea now that Vargas is dead, but if we just tweak it a little, I think we can still bring it back to life. You know, like a phoenix. You dare take pity on me? If so, I will burn you to ashes on the spot. But I can see that I need not worry. Very well, say your piece. How do you want to bring Vargas back to life? He was pretty definitively dead in the last scene. Especially since I was the one who pronounced him dead. Oh, I get it. You're saying we make Roma a liar. No, nothing like that. I'm not talking about Vargas himself coming back to life. And Roma wouldn't have any reason to lie. At least I don't think he would. Normally, one look with my clairvoyance would reveal how things play out, but since it's an odd singularity, the usual rules don't apply. So, what is this idea of yours? It's simple. Suffice it to say, I want to honor both your and Murasaki's wishes for the character. It's nothing exceptional, but I think a lot of people would be willing to accept it. In one sense, unveiling it here for the first time works out perfectly. How much longer do you intend to keep me waiting? Hurry and get to the point. Sorry about that. Okay then, here's my idea for what I'm going to say. He's going to say that he was secretly the prince the whole time. First off, let me ask you something. Do you remember what Murasaki told you back when she explained our character to us? Of course, that time that beautiful woman told me. Now I understand what an amusing idea you have come up with, Archer. Pharaoh Ozymandias, can I ask what's going on? It would be uncouth for me to reveal it. Yes, I see. There's a joke in there. I sure as hell missed it. I remember when Murasaki told us about our character too. She said you two were the prince of old Nada Kingdom and his attendant. Oh, now I get it. So that's your game. I already figured it out, huh? Yep, you got it. Sorry, I couldn't come up with anything better. I'm sorry, Arash, but I still don't understand. Could you tell me what it is you're talking about? You're really kind, aren't you, Missy? Okay, well, let me try this again. Murasaki told us that we were the prince and his attendant. So far, I've been playing the attendant, and the Pharaoh's been playing the prince, as you'd expect. Right? Oh, you mean... I sure do. Now that Vargas is there, I thought, what if we turn that around? I could be the prince, the Pharaoh could be my attendant. It'd be a huge twist! 10 years ago, after barely escaping the attack of the palace, the prince and his attendant worked hand in hand to survive, eventually growing up to be a pair of fine young men. Though they didn't think the prince was a wanted man, they could never be completely sure. So they pretended their relationship was the inverse of its true nature to better hide the prince's identity. Pretty much. That's okay. That's sensical. Alright, for the moment, let's say we go with this. How then do you explain what happened with Gabrielle and Salazar then? Not to mention we still have to fit the portrait painter in all this.
Oh, that was just me kind of babbling. We can cut it out.
Now don't worry, I've got something in mind for that too. We can make it so that Salazar always wanted to kill Vargas, and that's why he poisoned the glass. But the result was that Gabriella ended up being the one who took the poisoned glass. When his attempt failed, Salazar tried to take a more direct approach to killing Vargas once they were alone, only to die in the process.
But why would Salazar do such a thing? I can't see what his motive could be.
Well, that's easy, because he was ordered to. But Salazar worked for Gabriella, didn't he? Not only did he fail to kill his target, he ended up almost killing his master. And on top of that, he got himself killed when he tried again. Pretty poor excuse for an assassin, don't you think? Well, given how he brought it up when he did, I don't see how he can get around that. Hey now, I'm not so cruel as to make Gabriella to be the bad guy here. That'd be someone else. Someone you'd never expect.
Are you talking about me?
Uh-huh.
True, I suppose having the detective be the culprit would be quite the surprise.
Oh no, I'm still not ready to play a cool and collected villain. That sounds like a great idea too, but no, that's not what I had in mind.
I'm so embarrassed.
Just strums embarrassedly. I noticed this while I was watching the footage. After we recorded the first scene, Murasaki only told 2 of the actors that their roles were over. Old Man Tajima and Izo. She never said that to Moriarty. Oh, we're gonna have him back to life. Oh, now I get it. Since Moriarty's part in the movie wasn't over, Murasaki must have been planning to have his character come back, right? You're saying Miguel was alive all along? What gives with the funeral?
No, wait, it was Salazar who ran the funeral.
And as Miguel's loyal servant, he would surely have no issue aiding his master fake his death. Sure, I have no idea why Murasaki might have wanted Moriarty's character to stick around. I'm just choosing to believe that she did so because it makes my idea even better.
Perhaps she merely wanted to keep me around as a production assistant. Or maybe she just likes my old man ruggish charms.
She might have also planned on filming flashback scenes. Well, either way, I think it's a great idea.
That would mean the portrait painter is Miguel. Looks like you got me.
You seem pleased.
Of course, it's been too long since I got to play the Mastermind. Well, maybe not all that long.
Even after he retired, he would still be the new nation's founding hero, so he would have retained his vast influence. But that does not mean the Republic of Nadai Nadha's political situation was stable. There were surely some factions who saw Miguel not as a hero but as an obstacle. I see, so the threat of assassination must have always been looming over his head. Thus he planned to fake his death, remove himself from the spotlight while continuing to rule behind the scenes through Gabriella. But then, the lost prince and his attendant suddenly showed up at the Meihousou, endangering everything he had planned. Miguel did not know they were here by coincidence or to seek, if they were here to seek revenge, whatever. Either way, he decided to take care of them before they could discover anything that might truly jeopardize his plans. This is, if all of the potential ones are this deep, this is gonna be long. That's why Miguel ordered Salazar to kill Vargas, who he thought was the prince. Last part of my idea involves Garcia confronting Miguel directly in his hidden chamber inside the Meihousou. Anyway, that's basically what I've got. What do you think? I guess you could say it's my amateur's attempt at solving this mystery. You're welcome to use it as you like, punch it up, or just toss the whole idea out whole cloth. Although if you decide to go with it, I'll let you film a side of me I don't usually show anyone. Oh. What's that side? The not blowing yourself up side? Boom. Destruction. Roasted. Alright. Oh no, we hit the time. That means we're gonna have to hit skip scene again. No! That's embarrassing for all parties involved. Alright, we're just gonna have to wait. Okay, 2 quartz though. Don't mind if I do, for sure. Alright, well. Let's skip Arash's pitch real fast here. Please let me. I do have to wonder. Because we said that we're going to have different genres, right? So that's like a regular sort of, you know, drama ending. Let's see what, see what Ryoma has to offer. I wonder if Ryoma will bring in, what's her face? His stand Goyle friend. Now that Arash shared his idea, would you mind if I went next? By all means, go right ahead. I'll be the one who decides the real ending, no matter who else goes before me. Thanks. Okay, here's what I got. I've been thinking about why Roma Koreshi came here and what he hoped to accomplish. Roma used to serve the nation's military and reported directly to Miguel himself. He surely had plenty of official avenues for success if he had chosen to pursue them. But instead he chose to leave and practice medicine in a small town, even though the work of creating a new country had to have been much more interesting. Good point. Sounds like I must have been sick of and tired of war by then. Exactly. So that probably means Roma would never want to see Miguel again if he could help it. Cause why are we yawning so much? Oh, it's so bad. It's not even that late. It's just yawning mode. Cause that would only bring back painful memories for him. That's my guess too, but despite all that, he still chose to attend Miguel's funeral. He must have had some reason for that. I don't think it has anything to do with money. Given how close he was to Miguel, Roma would know more about Cortez's legacy than anyone other than Miguel himself. Right. And there's more of his legacy than just treasure. It's also packed with all kinds of sensitive documents. I think Roma wanted to find it because he believed it contained the truth about his friend's disappearance. Oh, you're like the kind of spy thriller, the Mission Impossible type. It turned out his friend was actually living a happy life somewhere else. Great. And in the more likely event that it wasn't, at least he would have some closure. He couldn't turn to the police since the unstable government still had its hands full maintaining order and developing the new nation. So he decided to slip Gabriella a drug and take advantage of the ensuing investigation to explore the Meihousou and look for Cortez's legacy. So then how did he get the drug into a drink? Good question. Of course it would be impossible to make sure she chose the right glass. Especially since, as the host, she would inevitably end up with the last one. So here's what I'm thinking. Gabriella was already at her peak exhaustion thanks to being far outside her comfort zone for so long. Her glass wasn't actually poisoned. The wine she drank was just the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. Roma figured this out after a quick examination and thought of a way to take advantage of her unconsciousness. He pretended to give her an antidote while actually giving her a powerful sedative. As a doctor, that's something only I could have pulled off, don't you think? I actually like that. I like this so far. However, Roma didn't account for Salazar going berserk. Does that mean you're not going to have Salazar and Daizo secretly be the same person? Definitely not. Izo lived and died by the sword. It was everything to him. There's no way he wouldn't keep up his training, even if he lost all his memories. I don't have the heart to remind Ryoma that Izo and Daizo aren't actually the same person. Like Arash said in his own idea, I think we can safely assume that Izo's role in this movie is over. Hey, there you are! Hey, it's Oryu. You're just embarrassed to perform with Izo face to face, aren't you, Ryoma? It's not that, Oryu. Just please don't pop out of nowhere like that. You scared me. Besides, Izo's not the kind of person who could do something like that. At worst, he could flip out and ruin the whole production. That's just one reason not to bring him back. Oh, he's like the what was his name? Was it Chris Z? No, it was the room Chris. He had what was his? Chris R. Yeah, Chris R. He was the villain. A villain in the room, and his everyone was scared of him on set because he was so into it. Like they were like even behind the scenes like this guy's kind of crazy. So yeah, he would be the Chris R. But I still want to justify his presence in the story. When Murasaki first explained my character to me, she said that Roma Kuresi was a sansei, a third-generation Japanese immigrant. And I'm not alone. This country is home to a relatively large number of people with similar backgrounds. Izu's character's full name is Daizo Oka. Needless to say, it's also a Japanese name. Munori's character name was named Ryutan. His last name might have been Chinese, or might have originally been the Japanese name Tani, changed during immigration. These names might be simple, but they still follow definite rules. Even my character's family name, Kureshi, has precedent in real life. It means Nightfall Stone, I guess? Pretty much, yes. Anyway, given that our characters were all named to match our ethnicity, why didn't Murasaki do the same for hers? I was wondering why she named her character Gabriella too. So my theory is that Gabriella is actually Daizo's younger sister, and Miguel changed her name when she took her in. Though I admit that might be a bit of a stretch. The audience just have to use their imagination to fill in the gaps, I guess. Okay, I like his ending actually so far. Okay, here's the thrust of it. We know from some scenes that Roma got his hands on some top secret documents. I didn't give him much thought during the scene, but I think I got a good idea for them now. Oh, it looks like someone's getting quite accustomed to improvisation. What if they were a report detailing how Daizo died? It's not as though you actually read what they said. How would you handle that aspect? Well, I do have one possible scenario in mind. I think Daizo's the kind of guy who would go down swinging, making sure to take as many enemies with him as he could. But if he died in a blaze of glory like that, Roma would have long since heard about it, right? And if he already heard about it, he wouldn't have to come all this way looking for answers. So if he died quietly, that would inevitably mean an incredibly skilled swordsman must have killed him in secret. And I can only think of one character who fits that bill. Oh, you mean General Tan? From Miguel's perspective, both Tan and Daizo were forced to be reckoned with who could turn on him at any time. So naturally, he'd want them to each take each other out. That seems like it'd be much easier said than done. True, General Tan doesn't seem like anyone's fool. No, he doesn't. And I doubt he would fight without any good cause. Yes, well, considering who's playing him, I'm not surprised you came over with that impression. So if one of them were to actually challenge the other, it'd be Daizo. And he seems like he'd be a lot easier to manipulate, don't you think? If we filmed it, I imagine that scene goes something like this. Kill General Tan, and I swear on my life that I will see your sister cared for and protected. Then they fight and they end up killing each other. I see, that does seem like it would tie up all the loose ends. Not to mention, it sounds exactly like something more, Miguel would do. Good heavens, could you all just be a touch kinder to me? Gentlemen at my age have surprisingly thin skin. True to his word, Miguel took in Daizo's sister and raised her to be a proper lady. But then he broke his word and married her. If Daizo had known this would happen, probably would have gone absolutely nuts and cut Miguel down on the spot. Eep. That's his noise, he eeped. So what happens now that Roma knows the truth? Is at the end of the story? Nope, that's just the halfway point. Does Roma seem like the kind of guy who would just pack his bags and leave after finding out what really happened? Nah, the real question is what he does after he learns the truth. Now then, Tanner. I see this much the same way as Arash did. In other words, I think Miguel's alive and biding his time somewhere inside this mansion. But now he's panicking after losing his pawn, Salazar, in an unforeseen accident. So Rome asks Garcia for help. He suspects that Garcia knows his way around the Meihousou well. And above all, he knows Garcia's desire to avenge Vargas is genuine. Working together, they manage to find Miguel's hideout. But when they confront him, he only has one thing to say. So what happens next? What happens next? Isn't it obvious? Anyway, I don't know if we're going to go with this idea or not. It's honestly embarrassing to lay it all out like this. But if we go with it, I plan on taking it real seriously. Anyway, I hope you at least mull it over. Okay, so far, his is the top for me. I do like that ending so far. Salieri is going to turn into a musical. I really hope so. We'll see. I want him to be like, just break out songs. Please don't make me sing. Now this has escalated into a detective competition. or rather a contest to see who can come up with a more solid structure for the story. I would like to throw my hat into the ring. In fact, I feel I must. You too, Salieri? Uh-huh. I mean, your characters just seem to draw much less attention compared to everyone else, so... Of course I have questions, though not about the film. What is it I'm doing here? No, never mind that. I already decided I would try to live up to the Queen's hopes for me. Huh? I've been thinking about this man I have been inhabiting, Antonio. I wasn't able to learn much about him from Murasaki Shikibu, so I still don't know who he is. All I know is he shares my name, and he also used to be a court musician. Ha! How bitterly ironic. Still, if I assume there is a slight chance that Antonio is a flesh-and-blood person who truly existed, and I can imagine what he must be thinking. Is he turning into a real-life thing? Like a based on a true story? It took me some time, but eventually I did arrive at the core of who Antonio is. Yeah, it was tough getting into our characters, wasn't it? I'm just glad Murasaki helped me by making by making Roma similar to me. Indeed, she did the same for me and Antonio. It was a conscious choice on our part once I realized that the rest was relatively easy. But at the same time, I also noticed there was a contradiction in his story. A contradiction, Given how much has been improvised, I'm not sure there's much point in worrying about a contradiction or two. No, this one goes back to the very beginning, when Murasaki Shikibu was still involved with the production. I suspect she planted that detail intentionally and thought long and hard about what it could mean. I don't remember anything strange. All I remember is that the footage came out well. This was from the very beginning. Go on, think back. Surely you remember this exchange between Antonio and Roma. That's right. At any rate, I'm surprised you made it all the way through the massacre. I remember they slaughtered everyone in the palace that day, even the non-combatants. That's, Oh yeah, I remember that now. What's so weird about that line? Everything. Take Vargas and Garcia. How do you think they survived the massacre when their castle fell? How the hell should I know? Maybe they just got lucky. You need to ask. The royal family's retainers clearly risked their lives to help them escape. That is what it is to be a loyal servant, even in the face of your country's imminent collapse. You don't say. Maybe that means Vargas and Garcia have been fending for themselves all this time because they were the only ones who managed to escape? Besides, maybe it's because the prince witnessed loyalty that when things were so dire, and he grew up with such a strong sense of justice. Now I think about it, it does seem strange that the former government's court musician would have survived. Exactly. When the castle fell, the only ones meriting any sort of protection would have been royalty. Antonio would never have been spared, no matter how talented a musician he may be. That's a fair point. Perhaps Antonio had some fans among the court, just as the prince had his retainers. Fans so devoted as to be willing to risk their lives for him. No one would do that even for a peerless genius, let alone an ordinary person. I can think of a few. For the purposes of the story, assume that there was no one quite as odd as that. No, the reason Antonio survived the attack is obvious. He was relieved of his position as court musician just before the revolution took place. Yeah, tracks. Why was he fired then? As if you need to ask. Because he lacked talent. And without such talent, he must have been utterly lost. Was he no longer had his position at the palace? That's awful. But then in that case, how did he become such a popular musician? There's a great deal of difference between what is popular with the masses and what is appreciated at court. A great deal of difference. Sounds like a guy speaking from experience. I'm not Salieri. There's no point in bringing that up now. Alright, that should fill in the blanks for Antonio's background. The next question is, why did he so fervently wish to come to the Meihousou? Now that you mention it, he did say he had to pull every string he could just to get here. After hearing rumors that Miguel had a fondness for young women, he might have thought to present Elise as a gift. Whoa, scumbag much. Prick should do the world a favor and die in a fire. Well, I've got some gas and plenty of matches right here, ready to burn, asshole. Just a reminder, there still hasn't been a single crime committed here. Anyway, I still don't get why Antonio would do that. He's already found success as a popular musician, right? He's got fame and money. What else would the guy want at this point? That's exactly it. Antonio came to the Meihousou in search of something neither fame nor money could provide him. Something he wanted badly enough that he was willing to sell off his own partner. And what was that? Love? Sheet music. What? Okay. I was expecting love, but no, sheet music. The sheet music left here by past court musicians. I don't know how much he left behind, but whatever it was had to be here in the Meihousou. Miguel was going around collecting all sorts of documents everywhere anyway, so I don't see why sheet music couldn't be among them. No matter how successful Antonio was among the larger populace, he could never wipe away the stain of his youthful failure, and he found himself unable to turn away from it completely. He wanted to see the music his dead colleagues had left behind one more time. He had to know for sure. Had he made up his own prior lack of skill over the past 10 years? Or was the gap insurmountable no matter how hard he worked? They do say to write from experience if you want to quickly infuse a work with gravitas. Well, the finer details are, of course, quite different. It would seem bringing in elements of Antonio Salieri's own life here bear that out. It's a hell of a lot to throw at the viewer, but that's how it should be. I think it's a wonderful idea, but it doesn't really get to the truth of the larger story or help with its conclusion, does it? If we went with it, it would make this story all about Antonio rather than the murder at the Meihousou. I did think about how it would fit the story's existing pieces together, but I'm not as practiced at this as the others. Don't expect too much regarding the truth on this case. That said, I did think of a conclusion. I imagine it's the sort of thing you would expect from an Avenger. Well, what is it? Color me so curious. I, for one, would be quite interested in hearing a conclusion that doesn't cast me as the mastermind. I see no point in going into detail on a story that may never be filmed. All I will say for now is that if we do set about filming it, I expect I will need Sir Tristan's help. I see. Well, if my help is required, then I would be glad to give it. Though, of course, that won't happen, since my idea is sure to be the one that's chosen. At least I think so. We're gonna get to him, and he's gonna be like, I have no idea. Sorry, I couldn't think of one. Jeez, what's got you so worked up? Okay, I'm excited for Jean's, and I'm excited for MASH. We're gonna need to see. Well, here we go with John's. Let's see here. Alright. I feel like Jean's is gonna be wild. I hope she goes Buckham wild. Let's see. Yes, it's my turn now. Oh, I thought I would go next, but of course, I'm happy to let you go first. After all, there's no way you could top the idea I've come up with. Tristan seems like he's come up with something interesting, but I suspect this contest's winners will be more determined by who speaks up first. Don't mind if I do, then. First off, how do you guys interpret Elise's mood at the beginning? Huh? Well, since she saw someone she dislikes enough to insult... Whoa. Well, since she saw someone she dislikes enough to insult mercilessly collapse right in front of her, I guess I'd say she was in kind of a, well, suck-it mood. Remember Murasaki Shikibu actually asked Jean Alter to say as many mean things as possible. Ah, it was like you were born for the role. Oh, my sides are splitting. You looking for an ass-kicking master? You just gotta ask. Yes, please. Anyway, I'd say at least struck me as being jealous and petty. I can see why you guys would think that, but my interpretation is completely different. I know Elise isn't exactly the delicate wallflower type, especially now with me playing her. Really? Nothing? So glad I bit my tongue there. Anyway, I read something very interesting in a philosophy book the other day. It said that people only get jealous of others who get something they want. Oh my god, she's literally bringing manga into this. I don't really know about that kind of whiny crap, but it sounds right to me. So if Elise was jealous of Gabriella, you might think it's because of her money. But it couldn't be that, because Elise was already comfortable in her singing career and on her way to being truly rich. No, I think that if Elise was actually jealous of her, it would only be because Gabriella was a better singer. So I don't think she was jealous. I think it goes deeper than that. Well, if Elise really did upset Gabriella, it'd make her professional life a lot harder, no matter how popular a singer she is.
Indeed, if she cared about her career that much, I can't imagine she would truly risk incurring an authority figure's wrath. If she merely disliked Gabriella, she could have just badmouthed her behind her back. So Elise wasn't jealous of Gabriella, then what did she feel?
I'd say she was strongly fixated on her.
Huh?
The way I see it, Elise had a very personal reason for coming to the Meihousou. A reason that motivated her to pull every string she could to get in, just like Antonio did for his sheet music. She wanted to see her beloved childhood friend again. Childhood friend, who would that be? Back when this country was still the kingdom of Nadai Nada, Elise was a child living in poverty. There's no way she would have had a good life in the final months leading up to the coup. Luckily, Elise had a close friend she could always lean on for support. I think that friend was Gabriella. Let's say she was called Kaoru back when she was a little girl. Oh my god, really? We're doing the childhood friend thing? Well, I'm at it. I'd adopt Ryoma's idea of making her Daizo's lost sister. Thanks, I'm honored. And since we already have a scene where I thought Elise might be Daizo's sister, there shouldn't be a problem establishing that you're around the same age. But then one day, Kaoru suddenly disappeared. Oh, wrong voice. It's okay. It's fine. I'm getting tired. It's cool. I gotta cast my vote tonight. Rumor had it that the General Cortez took her in as his daughter. And since Elise was still a commoner, there was no way she would see her friend again now that she's basically royalty. But Elise didn't give up. She about to see her friend again and used what few familiar bonds she had to find Antonio. And worked hard to become a singer, famous enough to rub shoulders with royalty. Eventually, all that hard work paid off, and she finally came face to face with Kaoru again. But Gabriella didn't treat you as a childhood friend. If anything, it seemed like she didn't recognize you at all. I don't know if she really didn't recognize me, if she was just pretending not to. But either way, you can imagine how pissed I would be to come all this way only to have my closest childhood friend ignore me. I think that's why I was such a bitch to her, even though I was happy to see her she was alive and well. You still overdid it a bit. Yeah, probably. Also, shut up. Think about it from Kaoru's perspective. There was nothing she could do about her brother going missing or being taken in by some creepy old guy from the old court. Doesn't matter how nice her new life is, she was still a bird in a gilded cage. She must have had to bury her feelings deep down just to get through the day. That's why I wanted Kaoru to stop suffering in silence. I wanted her to hear how she truly felt, even if it meant she would never speak to me again, that's all. Well, that's a lot to take in, but I love how dramatic it is. Although, does that mean Elise isn't the culprit then? Hell no. There's no way Elise would do anything to ruin her chance of seeing Gabriella's reaction after coming all this way. If anything, she'd be furious at the culprit for robbing her of this opportunity. Not to mention that if Gabriella ends up dying from this, she'll never have another chance to talk to her. So Elise would throw everything she has into finding the culprit for Gabriella's sake as much as her own. The culprit, Would Miguel fill that role here like he has in the other scenarios? Yeah, Miguel. Nah, the old creep can stay dead so he doesn't get in our way. Ouch! Just deal with it. You've been dead this whole time anyway. And Elise wouldn't have any reason to undergo combat training, so she wouldn't do a fight scene anyway. Besides, I already know how this story ends. But if Miguel is in the mastermind, how do you intend to tie up all the loose ends? Simple. Gabrielle's a young widow. It's no stretch that people around her might get some wicked ideas. I'd say her servants wanted to steal all of Cortez's legacy for themselves. Makes sense. The government could take back any land and property they try to steal, but if they have any dirt on the people in power, they would give them considerably more freedom to act as they like. But of course, they'd be the first to suspect that they killed Gabrielle when no one was around, so they waited for an opportunity like this to try and poison her. All they'd have to do is pin their crime on one of the guests. Yeah, that works. This way we could say that Salazar tried to kill Vargas to make his death look like a suicide. Still, this would make Salazar the culprit. Would it not be somewhat anticlimactic to have him already be dead for the film's conclusion? I said servants, plural. Salazar's not the only one in this scenario. A number of servants, Still, we never see any of these other servants during the film. How would you explain that? I mean, sure, it's a little weird if you think about it. It's also weird there'd only be one servant in this giant mansion, right? True, that is highly unrealistic. So we can say there's actually lots of servants behind the scenes and they just don't ever actually appear on screen. Now I see. It sounds like a great idea. I don't know about that last part. I suppose we could request that Claudia staff play the servants, but that seems like a lot to ask this late in production. It should be a huge challenge getting 10 or 20 extras here at this point. We don't have to do that. All we need is a single actor. And luckily for us, we got someone perfectly ordinary and unremarkable right here with us. I'm afraid I don't know who you mean. Ah, he's so dense. He's standing right there like a confused dweeb even as we speak. Aren't you, Tanner? Oh, what are you talking about? I've been on my phone. Been playing Uma Musume. Been tapping the horse girls. Been tapping all the horse girls. You're such an idiot. I'm talking about making you into the culprit, dumbass. That's it. Oh, sorry. I'm afraid I got a little carried away. See, Jean Alter's idea is the staple of mystery movies, where it turns out the person behind the camera was actually one of the characters all along. And above all, this way Senpai can be part of the cast too. I think it's a wonderful idea. Good point. Tanner's a servant here, and it only makes sense he'd be sticking close to us all the time. That also means he'd be able to keep an eye on everything and move about freely. In a sense, it makes him way more of a villain than Moriarty. Was it really necessary to bring me into this? Then when I point to the culprit, the camera can do a 180. And reveal Tanner as the mastermind who's been literally working behind the scenes. Okay, no, never mind. I take it back. That's rad. Intriguing. Your idea has a great deal of merit to it, firewoman. Damn straight. Still, I don't know if it's kind of a stretch, so I wouldn't blame you if it's not what you go with. No, that's kind of rad, actually. You know, being creative is kind of fun. Come to think of it, you also said you already knew how the story ends, right, Jean Alter? Would you tell us what you have in mind? That's not that special. After I reveal the culprit, it's basically just a scene of me and still sleeping Gabrielle, and where I tell her how I really feel. As for how that would go, you can find out once we start filming. Okay, actually, never mind. I kind of like that, actually. I kind of think that's a rad one. Oh boy, Tristan, buddy, you got to tell me what your plan is. Tristan's is gonna be super lame, but he's gonna come out as like the cool dude. He's like, and then here's the part where my abs appear and they ripple. On another note, I'm impressed by how much thought you all put into your ideas. But of course, Isidoro is a great detective, so his is bound to be just as good, if not better, right, Tristan? Tristan? I'm done for. What's wrong? Okay, it's the end of the world or something. I can't believe you had the same idea as me. Oh, what? Really? I staked everything on my originality, and I don't have an original leg to stand on. If I say my idea was to make Master the culprit now, they'll think I was ripping off Jean. Mash, being a detective is much, much more difficult than it seems. They may appear to be author blessed with special privileges, but at their heart, they have almost nothing propping them up. The fact that I cannot rely on drama for the conclusion like the rest of you left me at a great disadvantage. I see now that I should have been planting clues for the conclusion earlier in the story. Perhaps something that would let me claim to secretly be another character's brother, or a character everyone thought was dead. Tristan, by the time I found myself wishing to take on the lead role, it was already too late. Alas, if only I'd realized these feelings sooner. Oh, also Adriana was doing almost all the actual detective work. True, at this point I can't tell what his character's even doing here. Indeed, for that matter, he hasn't even justified why he's been carrying a hop around this whole time. Oh, these hit sounds. Have you been just asleep this whole time? The way things are going now, Isidoro will be nothing but a useless scarecrow claiming to be a great detective. Can I truly let things end this way? No, I cannot. Hey, spares the whole sackcloth and ashes routine. Well, it's true that up to this point, you haven't done a single solitary detective-y thing. Your words cut deeper than any blade. But it's alright, I decided to come at things from a different angle, and make use of my incompetence. Tristan? Given that at this point, Isidoro is indeed a detective in name only. What if I was actually Adriana, who's been controlling him all along? Then upon revealing herself as the true detective, Adriana could identify the culprit, and that would be the end. Aha, so you're taking my subverted expectations idea and running with it. I like it. If we go with that, you're gonna need a real doozy of an explanation.
Yes, the explanation. At this point, I'd say any of them would do.
Huh?
As long as we keep glossing over any accidents and filming the way we have been, it doesn't matter what the truth ultimately is. Any one of the ideas you four came up with would work fine. Would that mean abandoning the larger premise? No, it wouldn't, because the conclusion I have in mind begins after that part.
Oh?
Did you not say it wouldn't be the end after Adriana solves the mystery? Indeed, I tried looking at things a little differently. Well, we've all been preoccupied with solving the Meihousou's murder mystery. My case involves solving the mystery of this Hollywood Meihousou itself. In other words, we make the out-of-character footage itself part of the movie. A meta-movie!
So you'd be including our own actual confusion in the story, huh? That would change everything about the movie. Whoa, making it meta!
We should arguably never have tried to film a movie without an overarching film in mind. So now that we have, we can make Murasaki Shikibu's fainting incident the true mystery. What if her fainting wasn't actually an unfortunate accident, but only disguised to look like one? And if that were the actual case, who would stand to benefit from removing her from the scene? Does that not sound like an interesting mystery?
That one's actually kind of interesting.
You went the meta route, huh? Still, that could work for a puzzle mystery as long as you take it seriously, though you're stretching this to a breaking point. That said, you'll have to have a really good explanation, or the viewers won't accept it. What have you got? I shouldn't tip my hand any further. All I will say is that I guarantee it'll be interesting. After all, I am this movie's detective.
So you're saving the best part for your own character, huh?
I'm very curious about Tristan's idea. At any rate, we now have 5 possible endings to choose from. They all sound great, but we sadly don't have time to film them all. I guess things turned out just like Dr. Roman said they would. What do you say, Master?
I can only choose one. Huh. Yes. I'd have to go with... Let's see. I hope I didn't miss the voting period. No, we're good. 5 theories have been suggested. Which ending will the master choose? The theory that gets the most votes will be released as the movie's ending. You get 200 for voting. So choose your favorite quest and choose vote. The other 4 will be... Oh, perfect. That's good. I was wondering about that. On 5/18/21. So that is tomorrow. Alright. I'm gonna... You know what? I'm interested in the meta stuff. I think that's gonna be buck wild. Let's go. You vote for Tristan's pitch. Heck yeah. Cool. And next time I come back, I will have some more of those mana prisms there. Good stuff. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time to see who wins. It might not be the one I chose, but if not, I will definitely go through all of them to see what they are. But I might have to wait. I don't know how long. When they say it'll be added to the thing, we'll have to see if it's going to be right away or if it's going to be later, but I do want to see all the endings and see how they play out. But alright guys, we'll see you next time for some more Fate Grand Order. Ciao.